Hola, ¿cómo están? Soy la super comadre Claudia de RadioCristalUSA.com. I'm rolling all those R's today. It's been a while. Hey, so I'm excited to be here. I'm a super comadre of RadioCristalUSA.com, and I'm super excited to be here today because I have an amazing lineup. As you know, my platform is all about elevating missions, elevating journeys, elevating nonprofits and profits for that matter, businesses, services, community people, people who are running for office, people who are already in office, people who are just amazing human beings that have a story to share. And you know, out of these stories, what I love for you to take away is something that can help you, that can help your family, that can help your community, that could help your city, that could help your state. And that's what this is about. So cada persona que viene a mi show es una persona que tiene algo que dar a la comunidad. Puede ser un producto, un servicio, puede ser algo que ha pasado en la vida de esa persona, de este invitado, que quizás pueda ayudar a alguien en su familia o puede ayudarte a ti, alguien en tu comunidad, alguien en tu barrio, alguien en tu ciudad, alguien en tu estado. So that's what this is all about, is elevating and informing and sharing. So don't forget to connect with us. Connect with us, like us, share us, follow us. We have so many ways to follow and connect with RadioCristalUSA.com. But before we get started, I just want to share something. You know, I was sitting at the parking lot of HEB yesterday. I know they're not our sponsor, but I'm still going to say it because I go to HEB a lot. And there was a time when I was super tired of just getting out of bed because, you know, COVID did a number on me, and I had been dealing with COVID fatigue for a very long time. But I had to celebrate yesterday. I went shopping, grocery shopping. I got all my items, you know, checked out. I actually wore my mask today or yesterday at this big store because, you know, we got to just take precautions now with this whole COVID, the new variant. And I pushed my cart to my truck, and then I loaded everything into the truck, and then I sat there, and I was about to start the car when I remembered but 3 months ago, sitting in my vehicle, trying to catch my breath after just buying a few things because I was still dealing with the fatigue. But now 3 months later, here I am, just almost 100%, you know, I'm like 98, I think, or 88, something like that. And I just wanted to celebrate that I can actually get up and go and do the things that I need to do. So I was super grateful yesterday, and I had to take the time to stop and pause and say, thank you, universe. Thank you, God. And having that faith in my body to repair itself. And it's not just me doing it by myself. It's through my trainer. I have a trainer, Elva, my super comadre Elva, who's been on the show with Champions Club. She put together a something for me to be able to handle and to build again. And so I'm just super excited. I'm grateful that I am almost 100%. I'm grateful that I can go to the grocery store and have the means to buy what I need and have the ability and the strength to do that. I am now celebrating the all in the small, being grateful for that. So that's what I wanted to share today as we get ready and we open up and we welcome our new super compadre, and our past super comadre is going to join us later. But I want to talk a little bit to my super comadre Liliana, none other than Liliana Elizondo, who is on los controles, making sure that Radio Crystal USA is on and up and running. And don't forget that we have music 24/7, and we have amazing shows as well throughout the week. So don't forget to connect, like, and share us. Super Comadre Liliana, where are you? ¿Cómo estás?
Hey, I'm here. I'm at the controls. I'm trying to control everything here. I just want to say thank you to all our sponsors for being part of RadioCrystalUSA.com for 5 years. And we want to mention our newest ones who have been part of Radio Crystal USA for almost 2 years too. It's Noir Picture of the Day, Chris Pignon.
Yes.
Also, N Crowd, our newest sponsor. Thank you for being part of it. And of course, I would like to mention San Miguel Event Hall, Patron Grill, Awesome Made, Banza Global, Alma Latina, and Aroma, Mexican Artisan Kitchen, who are having a tequila tasting event this coming Saturday. So if you want to know more about it, go to Aroma mexicankitchen.com and find out more about that event. All
Ooh.
right, comadre, tell us about your new compadre.
Yes. So look, we're gonna have to spill the tea a little bit, which is why I have my tea here. And I love this mug, comadre, porque it says, I do not want my tombstone to read, she kept a really clean house. I don't. And I'm okay with that. Because sometimes when you're living life, it gets messy. And as much as I clean up around the house, it still gets messy. And I'm okay with that. Nomás cuando vengan la visita, pues limpia un poquito, ¿verdad? Limpia un poquito para que se pueda sentar la visita on the couch. But I brought out this tea mug, this mug, because it reminds me of my new super compadre. And he is an amazing human that I've known for a while. And his name is Ron Reynolds. So State Representative Ron Reynolds, welcome to La Super Comadre Claudia show. Bienvenido. So where is he?
Right here.
I'm right here. Hey.
So I want to bring out this special mug, and I'm going to show a picture of the mug to you. And I don't know, can you see it?
Yes. Okay. Yes.
So this is how long you and I go back. Yes. So this is not one of the Golden Girls from.
No.
Oh, that's one of the Golden Girls. Talk a little bit about who this woman is and how we got connected.
That is the illustrious former governor of Texas, the Honorable legendary Ann Richards,
yes,
who was a phenomenal governor who led this state to great accomplishments. And she really did so much for the women's movement in terms of feminism and just a strong woman. She was amazing. And it's funny you bring that mug out because, you know, you and I go way, way back. You know, I mean, you know, you haven't aged any though. I don't know. You have to tell us your secret someday because you look just like you looked when I met you as a young, you know, younger, because you're still young, right? I think you were a student at U of H.
Yes.
If I'm not okay, yeah. You were a student at U of H. Mm-hmm. I was a student at Texas Southern, and we were both in the Texas Legislative Internship Program sponsored by then State Senator Rodney Ellis.
Yes.
And this was a great opportunity for minority students to really get a perspective of how state government works at the Capitol. We were interns, got paid for being an intern. And got credit.
Man,
yeah, we got credit for you know, we were there for a semester in Austin as young students learning, and I got a chance to meet you and some dynamic people, and it was so amazing, like years and years later to reconnect with you, and just so proud of you and how you've grown and matriculated, and not a lot of people from my TLIP class I've kept up with, but you were one of the ones, and I'm so proud of you. I just want you to know I'm so proud of you, Claudia. You're amazing.
What? Thank you. And Ron, back at you. I've been watching you as well. I mean, we were given this amazing opportunity, and it was just magical. And the way I came across it by someone else who was in it, and then I love that collaboration we had between TSU and with U of H of getting us together and going out there and being exposed, because that's what we need. We need to constantly make sure that this is happening for other kids, for other students. And yeah, it was an eye-opening experience. Honestly, being a Latina, I don't know about, you know, this is like
absolutely. Yeah, for sure. And that was the purpose of it. And I'll tell you, if it wasn't for the exposure that I got from that internship program, I wouldn't be here today as a state representative. I mean, there's no way, because it really opened my eyes up to so much, and the relationships and the connections. It changed my life, really, and I left there and went off to law school, but that was the foundation right there. It was that internship program that we participated in.
And this is exactly what it was supposed to do, is put us into leadership positions and going into, into that life, because this is a life that you live. You live out in the public because you're serving the public. I went the education route. I became a teacher, a principal, opened up a school, consultant, and doing the radio, still working in education. But I always think of that saying, to whom much is given, much is expected.
That's one of my favorite right there in the Bible. That is one of my favorite. Oh, you so stole that from me,
Oh man. See, like-minded.
Yeah. That propels me.
That's what propels me too. And we stood on the shoulders of giants. We were standing on Senator Ellis's,
shoulders,
and then, Mickey Leland. Because
yes, talk, girl. Yes.
For him, he wouldn't have this opportunity. We wouldn't have had this opportunity that's right. Ellis right. And ran with.
Right. Absolutely.
And we always need to remember these words and the people and Governor Ann Richards,
Yes. Yes.
These opportunities, because sometimes we forget.
Right. No, you're so right about that. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because and it's so important for us to pay it forward. Like Senator Ellis, Mickey Leland paid it forward for Senator Ellis. He paid it forward for us. We have to pay it forward for the next generation, so that we can keep that groundswell going, lay a foundation, give opportunities. That's why I always try to give younger people opportunities to intern in my office, so that they can get that exposure, that experience that you can't get in the classroom, right? The relationships, the networking, the mentorship, that is critical to success in life. It's all about, of course, you have to, go to school and work hard, but relationships, that's invaluable.
It is. And then you just said a very important word, networking. And, for my younger counterparts now, because, we stood on their shoulders, and now we're the shoulders. We're like,
yes,
we're like the adults in the room now.
Yes.
That's a big job.
Absolutely right. Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. And I just,
these are the ones running around trying to figure this out. And now people look at us and ask questions. I'm like, why are you talking to me? Oh, I'm the adult in the room now.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
But giving those opportunities, I always think of, that quote too, if I can only see further, it's because of the shoulders of giants that I stand on.
Yes.
And now that didn't really hit me, Ron, until the day after the election in 2016. I worked the polls that day because I didn't want to see returns in 2016. Right. Let me sign up. Yes. I'm going to poll. I don't want to just keep looking. I want to be, falling apart over there. And I had left my kids in charge of my parents so that I could go do this.
Wow.
I did not know the results until we shut down and we took the last voter in, and we were the ones like, okay, what time are you here at? We got to make sure everybody gets in. And then we shut down, and it wasn't until I got in the car and turned on the radio that I realized what was happening. First person I came and talked to when I walked through the door of my home was not my kids, it was my dad. At that point, I still saw myself as the kid, and I needed to go to the adult in the room and say, Dad, what happened? What now? What's going on? And my dad said, don't worry about it. It's going to take care of itself. I've been through this before. We're going to be okay. And then after my dad told me, the adult in the room at that point, that's when I realized, oh, hell, now I'm the adult. Now I had to go around and tell my girls, who were not asleep, they were supposed to be in bed asleep, but they heard me come in, and that's the first thing they asked me was, Mommy, did he win? And I said, he did. They said, Mommy, are we going to be okay?
Oh.
Yes, we are. Because I got that from my dad, and then I had to make sure that I was now the shoulders and the adult in the room for my girls. So
that makes sense. Oh, you're amazing. What your inspiration?
Well, thank you. And you are too. Everything I see you do, Ron. You talked about I know you went to the internship and you were exposed, But what was that day or that time or that experience that you said, you know what, this is what I need to do. I need to step into this arena now. What was it? Was it a person? Was it an experience? Was it something you saw? What was it that made you flip that switch and say, I'm ready, I got to do this?
Well, the internship exposed me to public service, working with Senator Ellis. But after law school, when I came back to Texas Tech Law School, and I came back and I got involved, it really was a lack of young people really engaged and being involved in volunteering, being, president of the Houston Lawyers Association. I was exposed to things, and then I got an appointment from Mayor Lee P. Brown, former Mayor Lee P. Brown, as an associate municipal judge for the city of Houston. And it was just more and more opportunities. And the more I got involved, the more people propelled me to want to run for public office, because they actually said, hey, you should consider it. And I thought, and then I prayed about it and decided that, it was my time to give back. As you said earlier, it was that scripture, to whom much is given, much is required, that really said, you know what, God, this is the direction you're pointing me in. Let me do it. And I jumped out on faith, and I ran for public office. And I feel like I'm doing what God called me to do. I love what I do. I love helping people. I love giving back. I love making a difference in our communities, and I love advocating for the underserved, particularly Black and brown communities. And that's a lot of what I enjoy doing. I enjoy being a champion for minorities, and because I realized that if it wasn't for opportunities that I have and people who made sacrifices for me, I wouldn't be where I am today. So I just feel compelled to give back and to lead and to leave a legacy.
Now, you have sacrificed a lot. You have your own family.
Yes.
How knowing that, and I want to talk a little bit about where, I don't know if you can disclose where you're at, but
I'm in Washington, D.C.
Well, let's talk about that. So I want to what I like to do, I'm not this whole gotcha thing. It's all about informing. It's about informing so people know straight from the source what is happening, what do we need to know, and how can we participate ourselves in our own fashion, in our own way from home. So I want you just to kind of give us a little bit of the outline of how you ended up in Washington and what you're doing there.
Absolutely. And I think it's so important that we give crystal clear information so the general public understands, not just in a 30-second news segment soundbite, but actually what is taking place. What are we doing? So literally, my Democratic House colleagues and I left Austin 2 weeks ago to leave the state capitol because Governor Abbott and the Republican leadership was trying to force a voter suppression bill down our throat that would have literally undermined our democracy. It would have hurt Black and brown communities the hardest. It would have made it more difficult for them to cast votes. And we decided that we cannot allow that. So we broke quorum. Our state constitution says that you have to have 2/3 of the members present to conduct business. We left so the state couldn't conduct business, because if they did, the Republicans were going to slam this bill down our throats, all based on the big lie of Donald Trump that he lost the election because of voter fraud. There was no voter fraud. He lost because people turned out in record numbers and elected Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. That's the fact. So fast forward, Republicans across this country, Georgia, Florida, Arizona, they've been coming up with these draconian voter suppression laws. We call it Jim Crow 2.0 to really re-envision and make it more difficult for people to vote. So we left the state to come to Washington, D.C., where we're currently at now, to really urge Congress, the United States Congress, the Senate, to pass the H.R. 1, the For the People Act, and H.R. 4, the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, that would really provide federal protection so that all 50 states would be covered under federal protection, and the states couldn't continue to pass these racially motivated gerrymandering and redistricting and voter suppression laws. So that really is in a nutshell. We love to fight for millions of minorities in Texas. Texas is the home of the largest African American population in the country per the 2020 census, and the second largest Latina population in the entire United States of America. So it's a majority minority state. Most of the growth has come in the Hispanic and the Asian community, and Republicans don't want to outreach to minority communities. They don't want to win by ideas. They want to win by putting their thumb on the scale to make it more difficult to vote, similar to in the past when they instituted the voter ID laws after Obama won in 2008. So we're here to fight. We're here to advance the cause of justice. And in the phrase of John Lewis, we're here to make some good trouble.
I love it. I love it. So you said, I want to go back for listeners, because of course we had to talk about who this woman was for a minute.
Yes. I love her.
I know. Let's go back to Jim Crow 2.0. Let's take off the 2.0 for many students, young folks, people that just got here from another country. I'm learning about the US. I'm learning about this land that I now live in, that I love so dearly, the freedoms and whatever, and all that, which is a great thing. But talk a little bit about what Jim Crow was and why this is being called now Jim Crow 2.0. Because
Absolutely.
us don't get that in school,
Right.
Push here in Texas to kind of not give all the correct the appropriate information.
Yes. Say that. So I'm glad you pointed that out, because sometimes you assume that everyone knows, but a lot of people don't know, right? So Jim Crow laws were, even after the U.S. Constitution, after the 15th Amendment that allowed blacks to vote, they enacted, many of the southern states enacted Jim Crow laws. Jim Crow laws were designed to limit those who were not white from voting. So, for example, they had grandfather clauses that stated that if you were able to vote in previous elections, then you were exempt. But for those who it didn't cover, like blacks and browns and even women, that there were barriers. So they had poll taxes. So in order to vote, you had to pay a price to vote, right? Like you were working, barely making ends meet. You didn't have the extra income to pay to go vote, right? So that was one barrier. Another barrier were they called literacy tests, where you would literally have to recite the U.S. Constitution. There were a lot of minorities that didn't have formal education, where they had to do things and jump through hoops through called literacy tests. There were some other ridiculous things. And Claudia, this is where it gets more shocking, right? Let's say you had the money to pay for the poll tax. You had the literacy to pass a literacy test. There was another barrier that was almost impossible to overcome. And that was that you had to, like they had a jar, this jar, they fill up with jelly beans. How many jelly beans are in this bar of this in this jar? I mean, if you didn't guess it correctly, then sorry, you failed the test. A bar of soap. How many? I mean, ridiculous gotchas, right? So that you, in essence, you had to do these hoops to go vote, a fundamental precious right that is the bedrock of America. Minorities didn't get a chance to really experience that until there were many people in the movement, like Cesar Chavez, like John Lewis, Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks. They gave everything, right? They were on the front line. People died for this fundamental right. So they marched, they protested, they were beaten, they were lynched. But finally, after a lot of great, good, and necessary trouble, they were able to convince the Congress, former Johnson, signed August the 6th of 1965, the Voting Rights Act that prohibited states from implementing poll taxes and literacy tests or any impediments to vote. So effective then, you eliminated those barriers that prohibited black and brown people from voting. It was the Voting Rights Act of 1965. So because of that federal legislation, you have people who look like me and you that are able to hold public office. Before that, after the period of Reconstruction, there was none because you couldn't vote, right? So Texas even had what was called whites only primaries until that was struck down.
Wow. That I've never heard of.
We really franchised for very long. It wasn't until the passage of the Voting Rights Act was signed. So we are trying to protect that precious fundamental right to vote and restrictions on it. So this reason why we call this Jim Crow 2.0, because no, it's not a poll tax or a literacy test, but they're literally putting barriers on the precious fundamental right to vote.
So why? Here's my question. It's probably not a question that we can answer here today. We can, I guess, make our own assumptions. Why make it? Why? It seems to me like when you're losing the game, you're gonna change the rules.
There you go, girl. You talk that talk. That's right.
That's how I'm feeling. I'm all about, hey, if you can vote, if you registered, if you fulfill the requirements, you became a citizen, or you got here and then became a citizen later, like my family. You know, why make it harder to vote? Because, I mean, wouldn't you as a party want to reach out? Like you said, don't you want to reach out to the community? Don't you want to embrace them and say, hey, come on, come under our umbrella. Let's get you what you need. You know, let's get you signed up for our party. Let's get you running or whatever. Let's do stuff for the community together. Why not that approach?
Well, that is the right approach, Claudia. You hit the nail on the head. That is the way it should be. We should be reaching out to say, hey, if you want to vote Republican because we're going to do XYZ based on policies, right? But they're not doing that. They're not saying, hey, we're the party of great jobs and innovation and wages and criminal justice reform, whatever it is, you know. They're not doing that. They're not trying to reach out and bring people in that are minorities. They're basically trying to shut them out and saying, we don't even want to reach out to you. We want to limit and stifle your ability to vote. So you're right. That's not the way it should be. It's un-American. It's unpatriotic. It is not the way that we would want to view our country or our leadership. But this is Trump's party. This is the party of Donald Trump, who was very divisive and would win at all costs. And he is the one that's responsible for this great, what I would say, the unfortunate demise of the Republicans in terms of the way that they're doing outreach and reaching out to minorities, LGBTQ, immigrants, right? I mean, he started on this path when he started demonizing people from Mexico as thieves and rapists and things like that. So Trump has really set our country in the wrong direction, and many Republicans are continuing on that path, and it is a path of destruction.
Is there hope? What can we do? Okay, a lot of questions are coming up. So let's now take it to, you are up there in Washington fighting alongside, like, with Penny Morales Shaw.
Yes.
Cristina Morales.
Yes, I love them.
Oh, Adrian, I saw Adrian Garcia out there. I saw, Sheila Jackson Lee.
Girl, you keeping up with us.
Of course. I love, because it is a commitment, especially on this platform, to make that connection to the bilingual Spanish-speaking audience.
Yes.
So they hear and see. And I'm going to have Penny come on as well next, try to get her on next.
Yay, I love her. She's a super freshman.
Amazing. Because we need to understand and know and acknowledge, first of all, that our country, that is great as it is, which I would not want to live anywhere else, not even in Mexico. I love to visit Mexico, but this is my home. We were born out of some very trying times, as far as the way this country was created, and acknowledging that it wasn't all pretty.
That's right.
Unicorns and rainbows. It wasn't all, we just showed up and, built a city and got going in a state. No, there was some atrocities. There's some things that we need to face, but first of all, learn, which is why we talk about Jim Crow, because students don't get that chance to learn about that. And it shouldn't be like something that's going to make people feel bad. No, it's just knowledge. It's knowing, it's acknowledging, because when we acknowledge and we know, we can then start making those connections and see that we have a lot more in common than we do have difference.
That's why you're such a great educator, because you are speaking the gospel. And that is why it's so important that we reject this notion of critical race theory, where we want to whitewash our history. And that is what the Republicans are doing in the state legislature. They want to pass legislation so you can't talk about the KKK was morally wrong. You can't talk about the teachings of Martin Luther King or Cesar Chavez or Susan B. Anthony. And I think that is ridiculous.
It
right?
is. That is our history.
That is our history. But that's what they're trying to do in the state Senate right as we speak, and Governor Abbott. So it's important that people understand what is taking place in state government, because if these laws are passed, that is what our children and the curriculum is going to be like in our textbooks in Texas. And it is really unfortunate. It is misplaced.
Is disservice, is a disgrace. It is, why do we focus so much on leaving out? Why do we not include? And this is what supposedly the United States it's about. It's about uniting, but it's so important to know our history. I always talk about that. You got to know where you come from before you keep moving forward.
Amen, sister. Talk. That's right. Preach.
You got to know. And for me, whenever I come across my Latino counterparts who forget sometimes that their privileges come from people who were out there getting into good trouble, showing up, getting roughed up, getting, spit on, getting sometimes killed, that there were people out there that did what they had to do for us to be able to reap the benefits now. Whether you're living up in Kingwood or living down in Friendswood or living out in Katy or living out in what the hell is East? You know what I'm saying? And, because there was a time that was called redlining.
Yes.
You could not buy a house because of the way you looked and spoke. And I have in mind my people that look like me.
Yes.
That have Spanish surnames, that just because you show up on the block in nice suburbs, you have to realize how you were able to buy a house in that suburb.
Amen.
The people that were in those offices and what party they were affiliated with. And don't look at so much at the party, but look at the person and what they did, which just happened to be part of that party.
Yes.
But we need to make sure that we remind ourselves and that this information isn't lost or isn't twisted or isn't whitewashed, because that's why you continue to have people misinformed, which is why I wanted you to come on today and clear that up and share that, because there's so much that has been lost on social media, so much that has been lost. And that we have so many young people that need to be given the correct written documentation from professors, from people that are vetted, people that are studied in this, people that have been through it, and make sure that we share that. So
that's absolutely right. I mean, you have such a great platform to get the information out directly to the public, because it's so important that people are educated, informed, and empowered so they can make informed decisions that impact them and their families. I mean, there's so much at stake that's happening. And a lot of times we get so busy and caught up in our day-to-day lives with our family, our children, our work, stress of trying to COVID and everything else, that we don't understand all these other issues. So this is a great platform. And I think it's so important that we peel back the onion, past the 30-second, 60-second news cycle sound bites, to really implore upon people what is taking place and how it impacts them, because these are decisions that will be generational. And we have an awesome responsibility to make sure that we are doing everything we can to protect our future, our children, and our children's children. And if we're not careful, there are many in this country that are going to make it very difficult. They're going to make it so that it's easier for minorities to be racially profiled, and they're going to take away opportunities that have been fought and earned from the struggle and sacrifice of our forefathers whose shoulders we stand on. So that's why it's so important that we share and we give back and we reach back and lift people up when we can.
So tell me, in the listening audience, I'm going to do a little summary in Espanol. What can I, as back home here in Houston, Texas, in the state of Texas, what can we do to support this, to know more about it, to make that informed decision, to How can we become involved, even from our kitchen tables?
Well, one of the things you can do, everyone is under the governor. No matter where you live, the governor Abbott is your governor, and you should reach out to his office by phone to make a phone call to tell him that you don't want to see voter suppression laws in this state. That's the first thing you can do. The lieutenant governor, same thing. You're all under the jurisdiction of the lieutenant governor. Then everyone, no matter where you live, you have your own state representative and your own state senator. They need to hear from you. You need to weigh in on the first thing is to contact your representatives. You're a constituent of somebody. That is the first and foremost. And then that's currently. And then the next thing that I would encourage people to do is to make sure that if you're not currently, that you're registered to vote. Get registered to vote. There's no fee. There's no charge. It's pretty easy. It's painless. It's quick. But get registered to vote. And then vote your values. Make sure that you vote in the local elections, because that is critically where it's most important. Your city council, your state representative, your school board members. I mean, all those people there's such low turnout in these school board races, but these are people that are making critical decisions who decides who's going to be the superintendent in the direction of the school district. So the local elections are really where the rubber meets the road. So many people skip them and wait for every 4 years for the presidential. But I want people to know is that we upcoming midterms, they're next year. Get informed, get involved, and vote your values. Vote for people that are going to support a livable wage, raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour. Vote for people that understand that the impact of science and climate change and believe in your core values, whatever those values are. Research and do your due diligence. It doesn't take long to do a simple Google search. Use the League of Women Voters. There's so much information out there at your disposal if you'll just be reasonably curious about the candidates, and then make sure you vote. And that's the only way that you can hold elected officials accountable. You're a boss. You have the ability to hire and fire. But many people don't take that responsibility, and they leave it to others. Others are making decisions for you when they vote, and you don't, because your vote is your voice. And if you don't want to have a say, then don't vote. But if you care about yourself and your future and the circumstance of your community, then you need to get involved, and you need to vote, and you need to make sure that you make your voice heard.
So you said something really, I automatically translated to Spanish. Your vote
Yes.
is your voice. Tu voto
Yes.
es tu voz. We say it a lot in español. So I'm going to say a little bit in español. So gracias a todos que están escuchando hoy, pero hoy tengo un super compadre que se llama Ron Reynolds. Él es un representante que nos representa aquí en el estado de Texas, y él está ahorita en Washington. Y la razón por qué él no está aquí en Texas es que porque él fue a Washington con un grupo de otros representantes demócratas, porque aquí en Texas hay una ley que están tratando de proponernos para que la persona que vaya a votar, eso sea un poco más difícil para la persona que es normal, que es un trabajador, que a lo mejor no tiene todos los recursos, como una persona que tiene más recursos, ¿verdad? Así es que él está ahorita en Washington para pedirle a los congresistas en el nivel federal un tipo de protección para los votantes aquí en Texas. Y por eso él está ahorita en Washington, no está aquí en Texas, porque aquí esa ley que querían pasar, se necesita pues un grupo de personas que representan aquí a la gente. Pero como ellos decidieron no estar presente en esa sesión especial con el gobernador Abbott, ellos se huyeron para Washington con la razón de ir a hablar a las personas en Washington que hay que tener unas protecciones, unas leyes para el votante aquí en Texas. Y Ron Reynolds es una persona que yo conozco desde de los 90s. Aquí en Texas lo conocí cuando los dos trabajábamos en el Capitolio, aquí en Austin. Era debajo de un programa que se llamaba Texas Legislative Internship Program. Y durante ese periodo, él y yo vivimos con otro grupo de estudiantes de la Universidad de Houston y la Universidad de Texas Southern University. Fuimos a Austin y trabajamos con representantes, trabajamos en el Capitolio, y ahí pudimos ver cómo es el trabajo de una persona que representa el pueblo. Y es donde yo conocí a Ron, y lo conozco desde los 90, los 95 por ahí, y desde entonces estamos conectados. Y él corrió y buscó el puesto de ser representante, lo ha hecho muy bien y sigue adelante él representándonos y luchando para la gente, para el pueblo, para las comunidades que nunca a lo mejor han sido representados como deberíamos ser representados. So I just kind of did it in Spanish in a very quick summary. And so I just wanted just to go back to a little bit about what you said, just to make sure that the listener who is at home, maybe cooking dinner, getting their kids ready for back to school, the importance of what you said about how can we help here at home. It doesn't even take dollars. It doesn't even, you're not even saying you got to go give some money. You're saying call, you can Google people, you can email people, you can call them, you can find this information. Get in touch with your governor, because everyone's under him, and lieutenant governor. Reach out to their office and let them know you don't want this type of voter suppression law. You also said to find out who represents you here in your own city, in your own location. Who represents you? Who's your senator? Who's your state rep? Let them know as well. You also said to make sure that you're registered to vote. Check your registration. Make sure you're up to date. And all of this, you can go online and find it so easy now with a touch of a button, everything, click, 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 click. Vote your values. You said to vote for the people that have you at their best interest. Not, what I heard is don't vote on the loud rhetoric that's out there, that's filling you with ideas, that is knocking off what we need to do, which is to vote. Everybody wants the best for their kids, right? We want the best schools. We want them to have great educational opportunities. We want to be able to have some drinking water that is up to par. We want to be able to go to the grocery store and buy food that has been vetted by guidelines to make sure it's safe to eat. We want to be able to drive on a street that is not potholes when we get to the store, to buy the food that is okay for us to eat. We want to make sure that we can show that we can go to work and have livable wages and be able to live, not live to work, but, or was it to live? How's that saying go? Live to work, work to live. One of those, and making sure that we can be just good people. And I think we've kind of lost that.
Yes.
In some of the sayings that were happening during the election and the one back in 2016, but just making sure that what I'm hearing is to make sure that we are our brother's keeper. I hear that.
Oh, I love it. Yes.
That we are, it's not just about me right now. It's long-term, not just short.
Yes.
And how we can get involved just by the touch of a button, picking up your phone, click, click, click. If we can do TikToks.
Ooh, say that. Yes.
We can make TikToks about calling the governor.
Let me say, you are, I can't imagine what a phenomenal educator you are, because you just summarized that crystally, succinctly well. I mean, you're amazing. Thank you for crystallizing that in brevity. In such a snapshot, in a capsule that is easily digestible. So that is so important, and I'm glad you said it in Spanish. I wish that's my one regret from undergrad, is that I didn't stick out Spanish past my core requirements, because I would love to be bilingual. But thank you. You're phenomenal.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And likewise with you, Ron. I mean, it's a fight that, honestly, I think we talked about this off before we started. When I met you in 1995, 96. That was
the year.
You must have been like 10 years old.
Yeah.
We were barely out of diapers.
Right.
And never in a million years did I think that we would be having this conversation fast.
Right. Never. No.
With things that could potentially affect my children.
Right, exactly.
But I'm fortunate to be here. And if the best, what I could do is put you on and share this, because we're sharing this on like 5-6 different platforms. It's going to be saved. We can forward it, share it. So if you are a listener and you're coming on late, or you didn't hear the whole story, you have a chance, listener audience, to go back.
Yay.
Facebook Live. You can go back to our Facebook page. You can go back to our YouTube channel and get to know State Rep Ron Reynolds, his story, his fight for us, his sacrifices, and what we can do, because you said it well. We are the boss of the people.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people don't realize that you're the boss, right? You have the ability to give the pink slips if someone's not doing what they need to be doing. There are no term limits in state government in Texas. So people can be there as long as you keep them there, or they can be there a short period of time. It's all up to you, but you have to be engaged and you have to vote. And so many people, there's so much apathy because people aren't informed. They don't know what's really going on. So that's why it's so important that we need people involved and people voting and knowing the issues. So let's continue to use these platforms to educate people on what's at stake and why it's so important that they vote. When it comes to, like I said, criminal justice reforms, when it comes to, jobs, when it comes to MWBE programs, education, what's in our textbooks, what our teachers are teaching, our kids are learning. I mean, roads, everything, traffic congestion, all of that is political. The crime rate, I mean, you name it, right? So
we got flooding down here. We got things
flooding, absolutely, yeah.
Healthcare right now is at the top. I mean, I'm going to be a little transparent with you. I got, I don't know if you know, I got sick with COVID really, really bad. And I got some bills that I honestly don't even know how I'm going to pay for. And wow. I'm like, looking at this. I'm like,
yeah.
How do you want me to pay? I'm like, I'm going to go knock on Governor Abbott's door and say,
yeah, exactly. There you go.
You need to pay up.
Right. Exactly. Thank you. Thank you, Claudia. Say that, girl. Hey, I'm telling you, for real. But you know what? It's so important that you're transparent, right? There's no shame to it. And that, other people are saying, oh my God, thank you for saying that, because I'm in the same boat, right? So they see you as someone who's successful and educated, and you're having those same challenges, right? We're all in the same boat together. So, united we stand, divided we fall. So we have to make sure that we are articulating these issues. So I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad that you're willing to be transparent and vulnerable to talk about how COVID impacted you and the bills and everything. So that's so important that you give your testimony.
Yes, and super important, especially when someone else is trying to tell the story about you.
Woo! Yes.
You are the author of you. That's what I always tell my students and my kids, and every time I do teacher trainings, I tell them, I go, it's all about us as the adult teachers, educators, parents, guardians, whatever, to teach our kids to speak for themselves, because someone else will do it for you.
Yeah, it sounds like I need to recruit you for public office, girl. You're refreshing. Your viewpoints, your perspective. I mean, it is. Man, we need more people like you holding public office. So I don't know if you got that bug or not, but
I do. I have that bug, but. That's why I was asking you earlier, when did you know? How did you know? Because it's always kind of been there.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I'm hearing it. I've been like, wait a minute. I'm hearing it, girl. I don't know. You might be fighting it, but I'm hearing it.
I may be running on my bills. I may be showing my I'm trying to pay my health. I don't have $20,000 in my purse. But I can't hear Liliana. We have Liliana back. Liliana, go ahead and turn yourself.
I'm sorry. I said I will vote for you. I will vote for
Me
you.
too.
And you've been repeating what everyone says. Go, run for it. Run for office. Run for office. And she's just waiting. I don't know what, but she's waiting. She's making us wait for her.
Yes.
I have. It's coming. I know.
Yeah.
I had to come in because Reverend, she will not be with us in this show. She had to reschedule, and just so you know, okay?
Yes.
And,
but I want to touch on that too, and I don't know, maybe you can a little bit. There's a march right now. So Reverend Stephanie Wilkins is actually on the streets, and she was gonna chime in, but she, when you're out there with your phone, battery's lost, power was out, so Can you speak a little bit about what's going on, Ron Reynolds?
Yes.
Ron?
Yeah, with the rally.
Yes, there's a rally. Can you bring up that picture?
I'm gonna adjust my lighting 1 second.
Go for it. Can you bring up the picture, Comadre, with the information about the rally? It was black and yellow. It had all the information there, and it's super, super important what is going on. So as we take a little, as we are taking the time to get this picture for the listening audience, especialmente en español, tenemos a un invitado aquí, un super compadre que se llama Ron Reynolds. Él es un representante que nos representa aquí en el estado de aquí en Houston, y nos va a hablar un poquito de una marcha que está sucediendo empezando el 28, que es mañana, y sucede hasta el 31 de julio. Así es que es una marcha y se llama We Are the Moral Resurrection. Es una marcha para la democracia, para las personas, para el pueblo, para la comunidad, para que estas personas que están marchando vayan y pongan su voz en el Capitolio aquí en Austin, para que pueda oír el gobernador y también las personas que están allí, la voz del pueblo, lo importante de que uno vaya y diga lo que nosotros necesitamos, especialmente con el voto. Que el voto sea, que no hagan cosas donde sea más difícil de ir a votar. So I said a little bit in Spanish so the listener in Spanish could hear what you're going to talk about in regards to the moral march, the march that's happening starting tomorrow. So speak a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I'm very familiar with this. In fact, I was with the organizer, the lead organizer, Reverend William Barber, who is a national figure, a wonderful human being, who is a national leader, who really is using this Poor People's March. He's partnering with Beto, and they are marching a similar Selma style march where John Lewis and Martin Luther King marched from Selma to Montgomery, where they you heard of maybe where he was beaten as he tried to cross the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma. But basically, this march is to a march for voting rights and for democracy in Texas, and to raise the awareness that the Texas legislature is trying to pass a voter that is anti-democratic. So this march is historic in terms of for Texas, and it starts, as you said, tomorrow, and it ends on the 31st with a mass rally at the state capitol. And this is going to be at 10 a.m. And so we're asking people to participate. You don't have to do the whole march. It's starting from Georgetown and is going to Austin. And people can do it in spurts. They can do the whole one, or they can do whatever they're comfortable with. But this is such a great part to be a part of something. I'm proud of Reverend Barber and Beto. And all the faith-based community. There are many pastors that are working diligently, and civic leaders and civil rights groups, the NAACP and other organizations that are working to make this event a great success. And for those who don't know, also, the same organizer, William Barber, is going to be in Washington, D.C. on Monday. And I'm going to be there with him in front of the U.S. Supreme Court, bringing this to DC, and we're going to be here on August the 2nd. So he's going to be very busy. I encourage people to get involved, be a part of something. I mean, this is where you can be grassroots, right? You may not have much money, but you got some time on your hands, and you want to be protesting. Many people protested after the brutal death of George Floyd for policing reforms. And now this is a great time to protest and march and rally for voting rights and democracy. So this is a great march. I anticipate tens of thousands of people will participate. I wish I was in Texas. I would be participating in it. The young at heart, do your part. Stay hydrated. Bring water. But this is a great part. Something to be a part of. Something special.
And I'm going to take it back a little bit, because as the educator in me is going to say, for those that have not heard of the Selma marches and what that stood for and why there's this parallel being drawn.
Yes.
You got to give a little bit of the history, because
I'll be happy to. Absolutely. So Selma was the defining moment in the civil rights history. Well, that's where a young congressman, John, oh, not he wasn't Congress, but he was a young student,
Yeah.
John Lewis,
Mhm.
who marched with other civil rights leaders, including Dr. Martin Luther King, and they took a stand because they were marching for voting rights. In the South, they had the worst Jim Crow laws that I spoke of earlier, where blacks had to go to the back of the bus. Blacks couldn't go to public restrooms. Blacks had to use separate water fountains. Blacks had to go to separate schools. And this was the law of the land in the South and throughout the United States. And so they marched and they marched and they marched. And this march was a march that they knew would be dangerous, from Selma into Montgomery, some of the most hated people in the country, most racist, the home of the Klan and neo-Nazis, and they knew that their lives would be threatened, right? And so this is where they came together, and because of their sacrifice, John Lewis was beaten. His skull was cracked as he tried to march across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, but he was determined that it was worth the sacrifice, and because of his courageousness, it led to a national or consciousness that awoken even Anglos that were saying, we don't want dogs to be treated like these people were treated that were marching peacefully, right? They were beaten brutally by police officers, tear gas, billy clubs, bulldogs. Well, finally, it got to middle America, and they said enough is enough, and they worked with Congress, and they passed the Voting Rights Act of 1965. So it was because of that march, and because the first march was stopped, many whites and people of good conscience across the country, they joined them in Selma to help them finish that march that they couldn't finish. And so it is remembered as Bloody Sunday.
Yes.
And that if anybody wants to Google Bloody Sunday, you'll see all about it. You'll see pictures and images. It was brutal, but they sacrificed a lot, and that's why I say when people say, "Hey, you're willing to go to D.C.," I said that pales in comparison to what our forefathers, whose shoulders we stand on, they did so much, and they gave it all. They risked everything for our freedoms and liberties that we have the privilege of enjoying today.
And that is our history.
Yes.
That is our history that everyone needs to learn, whether you just got to this country and you're learning about it, or you were born here. But it's that is the history that we need to make sure that it's U.S. history.
Yes, it's American history. It is our history. Absolutely.
And that needs to be I always talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly need to be.
Yes.
It's not pretty, and that's okay. That is
we are kindred spirits, because I try to teach my kids that same thing: the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we don't have to sugarcoat everything and look at everything through a rose-colored lens. The only way we don't repeat history is to learn from it, right? You have to teach it, and not a whitewashed version of it, the real version of it.
Yes, the perspective from all people. And
yes.
And the thing is, Ron, it's not until you get to college, for many of us, that we learn that history. It wasn't until I got to U of H that I got to learn history from 3 different professors in my history classes. One was Professor Guillory, who I'll never forget. He presented the African-American Black point of view. Dr. Tacho Mendiola came in and presented the Latino, Hispanic, Chicano, Mexican-American experience. And then we had Stephen Mintz, who came and gave just what typically is given in a history class. And it was in 2 semesters that they did this. That point, that was, when you see a car accident from 3 different sides, that's what this is seeing history from different points of view that experienced it, that from that experience, because if we don't have that, then we will never know. And then you're right about it repeating itself again. But
that's right.
Responsibility as leaders, whether you're a community leader or you're a parent at home, raising your kids, or you're a grandma, you're a madrina, you're a tia, you're an auntie, whatever you are around a child or a young adult, it's we're the shoulders now.
There you go. Amen, sister. I mean, preach. I just like this. I snap my fingers because you were speaking that word, and it's so refreshing to hear from your platform, and I see great things from you. So I just ditto everything you said.
Well, Ron, it's been a pleasure. It's been an honor, and we already completed an hour.
Yeah, time having fun. I didn't even know. It seemed like we just started.
I know. So we already come to the end of it. So before you leave, I just want to say thank you to everyone that listened. Thank you so much, State Rep Ron Reynolds, for being on with us today in La Super Comadre Claudia show of RadioCrystalUSA.com. It's been an honor, and I would love to have you again because we got.
I'd love to. Thank you so much. God bless you. Keep up the great work.
Thank you so much. And we got to take a quick picture, so don't leave just yet.
Okay.
Pero gracias a todos que están aquí, que se conectaron. Aquí está Liliana para darnos el saludo de goodbye.
Thank you. We need to say thank you to all our sponsors.
Yes.
Thank you to San Miguel Event Hall for being a sponsor for almost 4 years. Aroma Mexican Artisan Kitchen, thank you so much. Awesome Maid, who just joined us 2 months ago. Thank you. BAMSA Global, any services you need for immigration. BAMSA Global, 40 years serving our community. Patron Grill in Humboldt, Texas. Thank you for two they've been giving away. Thank you so much. And remember, if you make a comment before midnight today, you get a chance to win a dinner for two at Patron or Aroma Mexican Kitchen or Alma Latina. You decide what restaurant you want to go. Thank you for watching La Super Comadre Claudia Macias. Remember, it repeats Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays at 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. on RadioCrystalUSA.com. And remember to share all these videos to your friends, co-workers, your children, because they need to learn more about our history, more about our rights, more about everything that surrounds them. And thank you, Comadre, for sharing all the information and for all your guests.
Gracias. No de qué. Honor to be here and to do this. Don't forget we got.
You have to say a phrase.
Oh, yes. So just breathe y dale un chanclazo. That's all you can do. And a chanclazo for my friend here means, that the sandal that, grandma brings out or mom brings out when you're not acting right. Sometimes you gotta.
She used it on you know who.
Yeah, the person that was in office
all 4 years.
For all 4 years, he always got the chanclazo of the week because I was just like, I'm done. And but all we can do now is just breathe and move forward because that's breathing air, oxygen is what gives us life. And if we're going to give life to someone else, we got to make sure that we breathe from the oxygen mask first.
And remember to read our comments. Remember, we're going to share all the events you're going to have, Comadre. Yes. I'm just going to share them right now. We are going 5 minutes after we're going to pass our hour today.
It was so good.
Because we have to mention them.
Yeah, so La Super Comadre Claudia is also part of the National Hispanic Professional Organization, which I also want to invite you to, Ron, to come out on September the 16th. It's a networking event, but we also have elected officials come out. We have movers and shakers. We have people that are in the nonprofit world. And it's just about coming out and networking, showcase who you are, showcase yourself. Maybe you're running for office. Maybe you're up for re-election. Maybe you have a business or you have a nonprofit that you want to share. So the National Hispanic Professional Organization sets the ambiance for you guys to come out and to network, pass around your business cards. Maybe your next gig is there. Maybe your next job offer is there. And we also have memberships. So September the 16th at the Hilton Medical Center, it's going to be an outdoor event because we know that we want to keep in mind, the COVID-19 and what's happening with that. But for right now, we're keeping it outdoors. And so that's coming up September the 16th. So we'd love to have all of you there. And if you're a vendor, you want to come put out a table, sell your items, sell your product, sell your service, come on out. Get a table, get a spot, and here it is. Here's the information. We're going to put it in the comments for you to get connected and come out on September the 16th. And it's in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month, but it's for everyone. And our goal is to make those bridges, make those connections, because business is for everyone. But we're honoring Hispanic Heritage Month, and we'd love, Ron Reynolds, if you could come out.
Count me in, girl. I'm gonna be there.
There you go, because I would love for you to come out and be part of this, and you just making those connections, because for me, it's all about what we have in common. And what do we have in common? We all get hungry. We all want the best for our kids. We all want to have, livable wages so that we can live a good life while we're here.
And tell us about your event, the happy hour event too.
Oh my gosh. So tomorrow I am doing the host and the hype for an 80s DJ and karaoke time. So if you have a chance to come in and just after work, come out, have some great Italian food. The person who owns this restaurant, Mike, he is literally from Italy. He came over, opened up a restaurant, and he's got great vegan options as well. And I'm just going to be there just to kind of get it started. And Freddie B is going to be the DJ, and it's all about 80s. We know about that time period, people on this panel. You know about the 80s. So we're going to be having that tomorrow. If you want to come and join us, 6:30 p.m. until about 9:30. And there's also networking going on there. So there's a lot of opportunity for you to come out, have a drink, have a great meal, and then network with the people that are there. And I have another super comadre who is having a flower crown and earrings workshop, Marilena Cortez and Patti de Leon, this Sunday, August 1st, from 1 to 4. Pay your fee, come in, and it's all about art. And in making your flower crown, making your earrings. The earrings that I'm wearing are actually made by Patti de Leon. She's an amazing artist. And this flower crown that I have here was actually one that was made for me from the artist Marilena Cortez. So go on out there and support her. These are women that are business entrepreneur women that are out there shining and just making it happen for themselves and for everyone around them.
All right.
Final words, Representative Ron Reynolds, for
Thank you for having me on your show. I look forward to coming back. Everyone, please consider participating in the Moral March starting tomorrow in Georgetown and culminating on the 31st at 10 a.m. in Austin at your state capitol. And then remember to always stay engaged, to vote. And remember, your vote is your voice. God bless you, and stay safe, and keep the faith, and keep the fight.
Tu voto es tu voz. And how can people follow and connect with you?
I'm on social media. You can follow me on Facebook. Just look up Ron Reynolds, and Instagram and Twitter. Just look up Ron Reynolds, and you'll find me. And I try to be transparent and keep relevant information there so that people can be informed and empowered. Knowledge is power, and I believe in transparency.
Yes, and thank you. Thank you again for your service.
Yay!
For doing everything that you're doing for us all. And I'm excited to have you on, and I can't wait to.
Thank you, Claudia.
Gracias.
And thank you, Liliana.
Thank you for all you do.
Yay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. And keep listening to our program 24/7 all year. Oh, the photo. Let me see.
We're gonna close.
Hey.
Ready? 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Got it.
Yay. I love it.
The quote.
I love it, girl.
What does it say?
Yeah.
I do not want my tombstone to reach. She kept it really in house.
Fantastic.
Uh-oh.
Well, you let me know when you're running for office, and I look forward to coming to your September event too.
All right, I will.
Right.
I will be one of the first people to. I will talk to about this.
All right, y'all. Take care.
And remember, share.
Yes.
I've already started sharing.
Share your knowledge and share your love.
Keep up the trouble.
Thank you. All right. God bless y'all.
Thank
Good
you.
trouble.
Bye-bye. Bye, comadre.